Here we go.
Eventually just blew over. About a month passed. And at that time, so it was like mid.
So that was Nick Fuentes telling Tucker that, he's a fan of Stalin. And Tucker Carlson said, we'll circle back later. The entire interview, I actually watched the entire interview. Tucker Carlson never circled back to praise on Nick Fuentes as to why he is a fan of Stalin. Okay? So here is Tucker on Greenback. Watch what he said on this interview.
That subway station I showed was built by Stalin in 1939. Joseph Stalin, probably the worst person in human history.
It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. I guess.
Well, that's...
That subway station.
Okay, so here you can see that Tucker, he's aware of Stalin, right? He could have easily, pushed back and everything. He actually says like, okay, Stalin, an evil person and everything. But he just lets Nick Fuentes run with it. And yes, lo and behold, Nick Fuentes ran with it. So Tucker Carlson sat down a couple months ago with Ted Cruz. So watch how Tucker Carlson handled this interview with Ted Cruz, okay? Take a look at this. Here we go.
Shaped by the goals of the Israeli government. And I'm just going to ask you a question straightforwardly. And if you say no, I think we both know that's not true.
Hey, are they shaped by?
Are they coordinating with the Israeli government?
Are they talking
to
with them?
represent
Yes.
the Israeli
Israel
government?
directing them. You want to talk about FARA, the law on lobbying on behalf of someone?
Yeah.
It is, I hire you and you lobby on behalf of me. I direct you. Does Israel direct AIPAC? No, they are not lobbying on behalf of them. Do they care about them? Yes, but...
Or do you think that it's just interesting because what you're now describing in a very defensive way, I will say, is foreign influence over our politics?
No.
The Daily Beast.
So you can see there, it was a very heated discussion. Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. So there has been this pushback. People say like, okay, so Tucker, clearly you failed to push back on Nick Fuentes. It's his platform. He can platform whosoever he wants, right? But at the bare minimum, if you're going to platform somebody, you should be able to, if you're interacting with their ideas, at least have a pushback. Like, take him to task, so to speak. And, Nick Fuentes is a big boy. I'm sure he can absolutely handle it. Because if he's able to say all these things clearly, he can defend him, right? You don't have to like what he said, but you cannot just act like he didn't say something that is absolutely distasteful and controversial. So during the same interview, Tucker Carlson decided to throw some shade against Christian Zionists. Okay? So this is what Tucker had to say. Take a look at this. Here we go, guys.
You, I think, have said it's the neocons, And I think that neoconservatism, where does it arise from? It arises from Jewish leftists who were mugged by reality when they saw the surprise attack in the Yom Kippur War.
Yeah, that's a lot of it, for sure. But then, how do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all, George W. Bush, Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I have seen be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, Christian Zionists. What is that?
Right.
And I can just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody, because what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't, why not? I'm pissed at the neocons, very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad since December of 2003 when I went to Iraq. And so I went and hassled.
So you had Tucker Carlson over there that he hates Christian Zionists more than anybody, more than anything else. And because it's heresy. So this is the thing that I have noticed that's happening, especially with influencers, or they might be MAGA or whatever, but they might, to me, okay, Tucker Carlson is a Catholic. Candace Owen is also promoting similar things like this, right? She's also Catholic, but, Candace Owen, she's not a Christian. So I'm like, okay, you're talking about stuff that you don't know. You have to understand, okay? Even if the Christians who do believe that, Israel are special people, all these other things. Like, that is not heresy. Okay? That is not heresy. You can disagree with their conclusion as far as theology is concerned, but that's not described as heresy. So I don't understand why Tucker had to describe it that way. Okay? There's already Christians do disagree on this angle, right? Because there's other Christians who believe the church replaced Israel. So what all the promises that they were given to Israel, they transferred to the church. And then there's other view, they believe that, wait a minute, no. The church is the church. Israel is Israel, okay? The problem is, like, people look at right now, the nation of Israel, what's happening right now, and the people be like, oh, wait a minute. You know what I mean? These are not chosen, so to speak, right? But according to Romans 11, if you read the scriptures, right, there will be a time a large number of Jewish people, around number of Jews, are going to bow their knee to Christ. Nobody is going to heaven because of their heritage. Nobody is going to heaven because he's a Jew. Nobody is going to heaven because he's an American. You are going to heaven by the grace of God. Through Jesus Christ, your faith in Jesus Christ. That's it. There's only one way to salvation, and it is through Jesus Christ. Right now, the nation of Israel, they have rejected Messiah. They do not believe in Jesus. Okay, that's why there is like a Messianic Jews, and I think is what 3,000 of them. The majority of people in Israel, they don't worship Jesus. They don't worship God. They absolutely don't. So I don't understand why people are hung up on this issue. Like, it doesn't matter whether they're Jews or not. Whatever else they're doing, they've rejected Messiah. They're not going to heaven simply because they're Jewish people. But people just have this vitriol of, there's a hatred of Israel, and that is wrong. Don't just hate people because they're Jews. Don't just hate them because they're Israelis. If they've done something that warrants it, then just explain it. But it's this idea where they're all lumped into one basket, which shouldn't be, especially for people who profess to be Christians.